Hey everybody, welcome to a conversation with Watchin It's Donnell and Robert. Hey Donnell and Robert, how you doing?
Pretty
Doing
good.
fantastic.
Doing
Slightly
great.
hungover. Slightly hungover.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Man,
if I would have showed up yesterday, you would have been in a
Oh no,
better
I was hungover.
interview.
Yes, I was hungover yesterday too.
Oh, okay. Well, it's good to
uh,
know that you're
let's
consistent
say this is
then.
weekend, Robert.
Yeah.
uh,
That's good. How are you guys doing?
Doing all right, just yeah, same old, just making the podcast, watching a lot of videos, TV too much
Hmm.
these days because I currently do not have a job, so
I was going to
have
ask you about
plenty of
that.
free time.
Any prospects or
Not
anything you can
yet.
talk about yet?
Nothing really.
Any ones you don't want to get you might want to mention here so they make sure they won't hire you?
Not a job, but I had a fake online college reach out to me about joining their border security and criminal justice program. And I was like,
Oh
nah,
well,
that's going to be a hard pass.
Hey,
that
it's a growth industry,
I
right?
was going to say that
Sure.
you that's your chances of you getting hired is probably 100% out of that program at this point in time. Yes.
Yep, yep.
You might want to consider that here in another week or so. You'll be like, ramen is not so great, and maybe I should be a border security guy.
Yeah, yeah.
You
Now
know
I'm
that? Did you know that the Homeland Security? I think it's Homeland Security. What is it? No, the border people. It's 100 miles from the border that they can
Yep.
patrol. Isn't that
yeah.
crazy?
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it's not the border. It's a lot of places.
Yeah.
It's not even just patrol. I think that
No.
they suspend like Fifth Amendment rights.
Yeah, it's like a whole zone
Yeah.
that's around the whole country. On any border. It's 100 miles from the border that they have some kind of jurisdiction or something. So
That's insane.
it is insane. I mean, I could see, what, maybe 20 miles. Is that too much? Maybe
Yeah.
I think anything over 0
five.
is
Anything
just unacceptable.
If
Yeah.
it's not on the border, it doesn't count.
I did
Your
like
jurisdiction ends as soon as you get one inch
Well,
off the
okay.
border.
I think that they should be able to patrol and question, but the suspension of
Oh
the
yeah.
Bill of Rights
Yeah. That's
within that border, like that's where it gets a little
Well, I mean,
not
think
okay.
about you guys are out on the West Coast. I mean, that's Los Angeles, San Diego, Seattle,
Oh yeah.
San
Oh,
Francisco.
yeah.
Oh yeah, we're in the Seattle area, so
Yeah.
Yeah, all
I
of
mean, if it's
all those
100 miles from
places.
the border, their jurisdiction would come down to pretty much where we live.
because
Yeah,
you've got
everywhere.
the coast, but then you've also got the Canadian border,
Yeah.
Right.
right?
Yeah.
So like almost all of Washington
A big
State
corner
is
there.
covered
Isn't
in
that
that. Yeah.
crazy?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Now,
I read that. I couldn't believe it.
I was gonna say, outside of all the moral qualms with being a border patrol agent, I just think the whole I mean, which we did just talk about how Canada is right above us, so that's a border. But I'm just always thinking about the southern border, and my thing is like there is so much just empty space land out
Oh,
there
yeah.
that you have
Oh,
that
yeah.
they have to be in, and I can't do no job where my job is to sit in the middle of nowhere for hours upon end and just maybe something happens, but also there's a high probability nothing happens, and I'm just sitting in a car, and I'm like, so can I do other stuff? Like, well, no, you got to get
Yeah.
alert because something might happen, and I'm just
You can do other stuff. They're all
just
doing
like-
other stuff.
I mean, yeah, true, they probably all are, just not.
Well, I mean,
reported, but
also,
yeah,
You've
also,
got.
I don't know if you know this. It's hot.
yeah, oh yeah,
It's
yeah.
hot
Yeah,
down there
well,
at the
they
southern
got
border.
you got air conditioners.
There's
As long as air conditioners
rattlesnakes
work.
and coyotes.
Whatever.
and
You got
You're in a car,
chupacabras. You're all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm just like, yeah, I can't do a job that it's 99% nothing and then 1%, or no, probably 95% nothing, 4% just people just trying to get over here, and then 1%, oh, things about to go crazy. Oh my gosh, gunfights, that sort of stuff. I'm just like, nah, man, I don't need that life where it's like, yeah, most days you're just doing nothing at all.
Yeah.
Ever.
No, they're gonna stick you. They're gonna stick you in one of the stalls that like, and you're checking passports.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Come across the border.
So I saw this and I was like, well, this is a weird timeline we live in. Is for the last 2 months, the most thing confiscated at the border as contraband was not, like fentanyl, like they want us to believe, or drugs or anything. It was eggs.
Yeah,
people
they're
smuggling eggs. We're like, gotta get my eggs. They're too expensive.
Whether going down to Mexico to get cheap eggs, is that the deal? Or
no,
Canada.
They're going. To
Canada.
Yeah.
Oh, they're going to the grocery store in Canada and getting cheap
them eggs, man. Getting them eggs. It's a struggle out here, and it's like, man, I'm gonna risk it. I'm headed up to Canada for the weekend.
Yeah, what's the over under P&L on?
Maybe I should become an egg smuggler. Or I got free time. I got a car. The border's right there. I can just head up there.
Donnell,
eggs.
this is your job. Just get some eggs.
Yeah.
I mean, just get some chickens, lay some eggs, and you're all set. You don't have to worry about working.
He go the unemployment office calls him. Was like, have you had any alternate revenue forms? It's like, I don't want to talk about it. Like,
I got these chickens.
I'm not.
You can have an apartment full of chickens. You'll be fine. I mean, they shit a lot, but other than that, you're all good.
I mean, I got an office that I could clean out.
They eat bugs.
Put them in there, and just have a room full of chickens. Where I have my underground arm. Man, I cannot talk. Underground egg farming.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, that could be. I mean,
underground.
It would be above.
It's not illegal to have an egg.
Not illegal. Farm. Yeah, you can have chickens. Well, maybe illegal to have chickens in your apartment.
Yeah, I own a townhouse. It's my townhouse. So
it's your. Well, then there you go.
I do wonder about the whole. I know you can have your own chickens and do some but can you scale and do actual selling or without? I figure there's gotta be some.
Figure you can get about an egg every 2 days out of a chicken.
And so I get a room. I mean,
you're gonna have to have I'd have to have 30 chickens.
Yeah, I'd have to have. I mean, that's just 2 dozen eggs right there.
But still, cut it.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Eggs are expensive, but I think 2 dozen eggs every 2 days being sold is not gonna get the bills paid. I'm leaning back towards smuggling eggs from Canada, going up there.
Oh, okay.
Now, couple hundred eggs.
Get a whole refrigerator truck full of eggs.
I just need
do they refrigerate them in Canada, or are they the no refrigerator?
I don't think that they. So that's based on washing versus unwashing.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So we wash our eggs of the membrane here in the United States, and that's why they have to be refrigerated. Whereas at least in the UK, they don't wash.
They don't. Right.
So they don't have to be refrigerated. I'm assuming that's the same in Canada.
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I do not want to speak for any Canadians who may be listening, but I feel like Canada is a little bit, and this is not dangerous to say, but just not as appreciated as may have been in past years. But I think Canada is a little bit more in tune with us than Europe, where I feel like they might be washing their eggs too.
You think so?
I feel like it. I feel like
according to Google Gemini, the Canadians do wash and refrigerate their eggs.
Okay,
there you go.
See. All right. So
they also have a bag of milk up there, which is
that's
totally weird.
Bring up. Whenever we start talking about groceries in Canada, I'm like, we gotta talk about bag of milk because I don't.
What is up with that?
The first time I interacted with someone from Canada, they had come down here. It was a family friend that came down here, and they were here, and they were just looking puzzled at our carton of milk, and I was like, "What's going on?" And they're like, "Why is it in a box?" And I was like, "Well, it could come in a plastic jug, but I mean, we just got a carton." They're like, "No, why is it that? Why is it not in a bag?" And I was like, "What the hell are you talking about? Why would we put the milk in a bag?" And they were just as confounded by our cardboard or our cartons of milk and plastic things of milk as I was by this bag idea. I was like, "Where this? How did you get to a bag of milk?"
Packaging. They just got rid of all the packaging.
Look, a carton is really just a hard bag.
Well,
right.
sure.
I feel like rigidity is needed for storing liquids. I feel like that is a common thing.
That is a good question. How do the Canadians deal with that situation?
Once you I think know how sometimes you open up a bag of chips, but you don't get that perfect open, and the bag tears.
Well, I think they have a nozzle on the bag actually.
Okay, yeah, true. I guess I would hope
on one of the corners. The thing I want to know is, do they print the missing kids on the bag? I mean, because that's like valuable real estate on a milk carton. Yeah,
it's all deformed, so his face looks weird.
Yeah.
Oh man, no. They don't have nozzles.
There's no nozzle.
No, they're nozzles? Just tied up like a trash bag with one of those ties.
What?
Yeah.
There's a lot of wasted milk in Canada, I have a feeling.
And then they have little receptacles that they put them in the refrigerator to keep them from like rolling around.
Right. Yeah, they got like a little thing that you're gonna make
you
put it into a
appliance to have in your refrigerator for storing bagged milk. Where you could
it's like the old if you ever had one of those cereal Tupperware things where you put the cereal in the Tupperware rather than just leaving it in the box, supposedly to keep it fresher. I think that's what it's like up there.
This is ridiculous.
Yeah, there you go.
Just a tied up bag.
I have questions.
I mean, does it save money? Is that more biodegradable? I don't get it.
Apparently, the bag lobby in Canada is strong, so I don't think.
Well, I love because this is like their specialized. Like everybody drinks milk. They have one of these.
Have one of those pitcher.
So you buy a bag of milk to put in a pitcher, like
you put it in the pitcher. Well, then you can use the pitcher for something else on the weekends. Robert can use it for milk.
But then I'm just like, I feel like because I'm about to say, I guess maybe you're saving money by not having to keep having cartons, but you have bags.
You got the bags,
and I feel like bags are more. I mean,
you think they wash and reuse the bags?
I have a feeling
like a bottle return. You bring in your bag and you get like 5 cents off your next bag of milk.
Maybe they just refill your bag of milk. I
don't like that. I don't like that.
I think another universe, there's a Quentin Tarantino movie where the milk bag producers in Canada are killing people and strangling them with bags.
Yeah, that's got to be it.
Oh, there's definitely a lobby.
The carton people, the Terrapack people were up there trying to infiltrate, and they took them all out.
So I grew up poor. And so, when it came to like going to school with a lunch,
you're still poor, Donnell. I mean, I got a job.
Grew up poor. Now I'm returning to my roots. No,
I used to be poor. I still am though.
So yeah, I grew up poor. So like, we'd get to take a lunch to school sometimes. Before I had my lunch box. Before it. You just take your lunch in a plastic bag from school. Yeah. I just feel like that's got to be a stigma up in Canada. You're the kid who shows up with your
bread bag
in a milk bag. Like you're like,
there you go, milk bag.
Your family's struggling. You're out here using the milk bag to bring lunch to school. Like I feel like that's got to be a thing.
I took mine in a bread bag. So whenever they finish the bread, you have a bread bag, right? And then that was lunch bag, then, right? So yeah, I'm like you, Donnell. I was we didn't get there was no free lunch at the time, so you didn't get to pay for lunch or get free lunch. You had to take your lunch.
Yeah.
It was terrible.
Yep. No,
I feel for you, man.
I saw this because you brought up the whole was poor is poor. I saw this meme online, and like, you ever see those like inspirational videos where it's like somebody walking through all these like great backgrounds and stuff as they talk about like, my life used to be a struggle, but now I'm here, I made it. It's one of those videos, and it's like this guy like walking around like different piers and stuff, and he's like, a year ago I had $75 in my bank account. It's been 2 years, and now I have $50 in my bank account. I'm still poor. You thought this was an inspirational video, but it's not. I'm broke.
I'm broke.
I'm like, that's the true state of life.
Oh my god! Yeah, exactly. Especially here lately. Goodness gracious.
Yeah.
If you had $75, guess what? You got 50 left. That's it. It's gone down already. And you didn't even spend it. It just disappeared. So what do you guys? Since you're the Watchin It podcast, what's to watch?
Severance season 2 just recently ended.
All right, Severance. Did you do the finale yet? Have you talked?
Oh yeah.
We recorded that yesterday.
Okay.
I mean,
what do you think?
One hell of a show. It is by far the best TV show I've ever watched.
Really? That's high praise there.
Yeah,
wow.
it's greatest television show of all time.
Yeah, not even joking. It is just phenomenal. It just has a great. I mean, it just has a little bit of everything because there's plenty of comedy, but there's suspense, sci-fi. You got this underlying mystery that you're just trying to understand, trying to figure out. It's wonderfully acted with the actors playing some of the actors playing dual roles, and even though their dual roles are themselves or not the actors, they're supposed to be the same person, like they're two clearly distinct personalities. And it is just, yeah, I mean and who knows when season they have confirmed season 3, but we don't know when it is. But I just will say that the time between season 1 and season 2 was a very, very grueling experience. I've just been like, when's this show coming back? I need some more Severance. We're back at that now.
The way you described it, you're like two personalities. Isn't that just, a season of One Life to Live? I mean, honestly, with the various twins that come into soap operas and everything. Okay, no, I got an eye patch, so therefore I'm the bad version, and then the other guy. No, I would agree that it's a very good show. Best show ever? I don't know. I'd have to think about that because
putting up to
compete. My wife won't watch it. I had to watch it by myself because she won't even watch it. She's like, I'm tired of this. I don't care about it. So that
if you've got any suggestions on what's better, I would love to debate that.
Well, currently, maybe there's not much better right now. But
I mean, there's a lot of good shows for sure.
Yeah,
Severance is the best one.
So now I've been trying. I haven't been able to figure out. So to me, at the ending, and I don't want to give away spoilers or anything if anybody cares about that, but
you come to our podcast for the spoilers.
Yeah, you guys go listen to them. But we won't talk about the whole thing. But they used a song called "Windmills in My Mind" at the very end of the episode, the finale.
Okay.
And I've been trying to figure out. So the weird thing is the end of Severance. To me, this is what it struck me as. I just watched it. I guess yesterday. Yeah, maybe yesterday. And in the morning. And then before I was picking up sticks. And then that music and the way they ended it, I'm like, this is a typical 70s movie ending.
Yeah,
it was. Yeah, because I'm like running down the hallway and then like there's trees framed on them. Yeah, very 70s.
Very 70s. But I was trying to think because there is a very particular movie which I haven't been able to pull out of my head yet, with that exact same movie or the exact same music and the exact same ending. And so it's got to be an homage, but I cannot remember for the life of me what it was.
I must say it really felt like when I was watching, like this feels like this is a scene from another movie or another, some sort of thing. Because just the way everything was shot, the music, like you said, it just, I felt like, and me and my theory head that I have is just like started trying to like, what does it mean?
It had to be.
Is there something else? Is they're dropping a clue?
It had to be. If it was an homage, it would have to be like to the 1968 version of the Thomas Crown Affair, I would think.
I don't know. Why do they use that music in there?
It's where the music was debuted. Was in that movie.
Oh, okay.
Back in 1968. Yeah.
Well, maybe it is, but I thought there was something else. But I don't. I haven't looked. You could ask Gemini, Robert, if you want. Our third co-star here, Gemini.
Yeah.
Is Gemini your favorite, or is Gemini just what you have handy?
I mean, it's just there because everybody uses Google.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I mean, I don't really have a favorite. They're all kind of.
I hate them all.
Good for different things, and I don't trust the technology. I'm very slow to adopt new technologies. So
I think that's one.
I haven't used.
Yeah, I can tell you still haven't adopted the razor yet. So.
Oh yeah. I have. I am turning into an old sailor.
Oh, there you go.
Apparently, because I
was gonna say David Letterman.
I just recently decided to start shaving my head.
Oh, well, then you are using the razor. You just flip the use.
Yep. Look, if I'm gonna shave my head, I gotta
Do you have one of those? What do they call them? There's an electric one that's like specifically made for your head.
Balding.
You use no, it's a razor. You go just rub it across your head. I can't remember the name of it, but you actually use a blade.
No, I just have a nice beard trimmer, which is funny.
Oh, okay.
I use my beard trimmer on the top of my head. No, I don't take a razor to it yet. I'm still waiting for the summer to come and for the tan line to go away because I had hair and so like.
Gotcha. Yeah. Donnell, thinking about it? Thinking about shaving your head?
No, I'm actually doing the opposite. I'm trying to grow my hair out right now, which is it's a endeavor for me. I did shave my head once when I was like, I'd say like 17 or 18, and it wasn't bad. It's cold at first. You're not used to it. And with the rain, I mean, and living in Washington too, you definitely the rain is a different experience when you're not used to feeling just droplets hitting your head. So it was I am very much like, so as I've said, I'm growing my hair out. It's an endeavor because the longer my hair gets, the more it kind of knots up and stuff. And then I pick at it because it's just like absentmindedly. You touch your head and you feel how bumpy it feels, and so then you start picking at the hair, and then it just gets worse. It gets out of control. If I don't stop, which I haven't done this a long time, but I had it a few times, I would pick at the same spot for a while until like I'd have like in my hair there'd just be like a spot of balding.
Have a dent. You got a dent.
And so like that's the struggle, and that's why other than when I attempt this, which isn't often, I usually just keep my hair. I don't shave it completely off, but I shave it down low, and I just constantly cut it off because it's just simpler, easier that way. But I'm trying to grow my hair out because I'm thinking of trying to get some cornrows if I can get my hair there. But I eventually lose my patience. Like right now, I to keep myself from picking out my hair and ruining it, I have a comb. And I have combs, I should say, because I need one everywhere. Like I got
them all over the house.
I have like 2 at my house. I have 2 in my car. I have one at my mom's place. I have one at my girlfriend's place.
Oh my god!
Usually when I come over to record the podcast with Robert, because we will watch the show or do some other stuff beforehand, like I'll bring a comb in with me because I know.
Why don't you just do like the stereotypical thing and just keep it in your hair?
No, I do. But so that thing is, I still might misplay if I take it out and comb and then put it down. I might. That's why I have multiple combs. But especially around my house, I got a comb in my hair like all the time because I'm just like.
So do you ever do like do you forget it's there and then you do like the glasses thing where you're looking everywhere for your hair comb and then it's like, it's right here.
Here it is.
Or I have the thing where I forget that it's there and I go about my business and I'm walking around a Safeway and then like I reach up to scratch my head and there's a comb. Like I've been walking around this store with a comb in my hair my whole time. Like,
you ever put money on it just to have some extra bucks just in case? You just have it on your comb.
I just feel like that's just asking to get mugged walking around with it.
Really? Maybe they should make a comb with a little secret pouch in it. You can put stuff in it.
A little clip, a
little hidey place on there.
Oh yeah, let's give the police more reason to suspect.
Yeah.
Well, hey, sounds like a good idea to me. People put money in their shoe or whatever in their bra. Might as well put it in your comb.
That'll be my elaborate egg smuggling is if I could really grow out I don't have the patience to ever do this, but if I grow out my hair and get like some actual like dreads, like you can smuggle some stuff.
There you go.
You could get like at least 6 eggs in a dread. Just
6
get
eggs.
That, and so that's half a dozen. That
you could just basically hang them from the dreads and be like decoration.
No, totally do that, and then getting across the border, be like, it's a religious thing.
Yeah,
it's
part of my religious culture.
It's renewal. It's the time of renewal in my religion.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So Severance, you guys really are going to be all in it. This is the best show ever.
It's that we've seen. That I've seen. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I haven't seen that may be amazing.
True. Okay. Very good.
There's lots of good TV. And lots of TV.
Now, do you think that they're just making it up as they go along?
No. They've already stated that they have an ending. They know exactly where they're going. It's not
what season is it ending? That's the other question.
We don't know.
They haven't said. I feel like and this is just one of the things that I realized a change that I guess came with age or something. I feel like 3 is perfect. I think if they go any longer, the mystery starts to be like, okay, well, how long? Comparatively, and I don't think they had a plan for this one, but comparatively, I think of the show Lost. And Lost,
right?
Like you were in it, and you were like, "Oh my gosh, what is going on?"
They didn't have an ending, though. They didn't
have an ending. So one is, I just like, unlike Severance, I don't think they had an ending plan. They didn't know what they were doing. And the other thing is also, as the seasons dragged on, that mystery kind of wanes, and you're like, okay, there's only so long I can believe. With all these people trying to figure out what's going on, there's only so long I can believe that before someone's like, oh, it was a smoke machine the whole time. I'm just
joking. Then they had a stupid wheel. Oh my god, that stupid fucking wheel they had in that thing.
I want Severance to end in at least the next 2. I think 3 is where it should end. If it goes to 4, I think they can still stick the landing. If they're planning like out for 6 or 7, I'm like, you're gonna lose the people. Like you're just, even me. I think even me if we're watching season 5, episode 6 at some point, something has gone catastrophically wrong.
and Eggland Eggs is a sponsor, then we'll know, right?
I think where the story is at the end of season 2, and what they've revealed, I think wrapping it up in one more 9-10 episode season is gonna be perfect.
So I'm a person, let's say I've never watched it. How do you explain it to somebody?
It is the story about it's got a lot. I mean, if you're in season 2, like there's a lot going on, but it's essentially a way to compartmentalize your work, for secretive reasons and mysterious reasons.
It's a story about a mysterious and too powerful company that has developed a method of making it so when you work, you don't have to be conscious about it. And
so how come the people are so different though? So for instance, like I'm a blank on all these characters' names, but Mark is the main character. Who's the guy with the glasses?
Dylan.
Yeah. So Dylan is a completely different person. I mean,
is he though?
More so.
I think I disagree with that, and I think that was revealed in this season because we get his wife, the Audi's wife, meeting with the innie, and basically saying, "Hey, you're what my husband used to be."
Yeah, I mean that's the thing. Is I think there any personalities, because that's one thing that they have brought up multiple times. Is like actually in this last episode, Mark tells Audi, Mark, like, you've had so much more life than me. It's like I just think I think they have a lot of their inhibitions, things that stop us from doing, doing what we may want to do. I feel like a lot of their inhibitions are stripped back, and they also are just a more naive version of ourselves. Like they don't know of all the, not to get all gloomy, but all the harshness of the world. So they don't know to guard themselves against things or not say things or not act a certain way. To them, it's just like, no, it's just do what you want, say what you want. So they're
in the
more
finale,
free
but in the finale, the band was scared.
Well, because
not saying they don't get scared. I'm just saying they just have a lot less of what holds us. Because like the fear, like just normal fear of like, oh, here comes a saber-toothed tiger going back there. Like that's just normal fear. But we have a lot of fear in our lives now that comes from just mental things that we think about, or things that, like physical fear or being threatened is just natural and present from the moment we're born. Like we can be scared of something hurting us. But I feel like when we as humans, and this is getting weird, but anyways, we as humans develop a lot of fears or things that hold us back, that are not like an actual threat, but just because we overthink things or over perceive things and stuff. And so it's like I feel like the innies don't have any of that. They seem to just be like,
they don't have the negative.
They don't have the social stigmas. Yeah,
they don't have the woe and the dread that comes from life.
That comes from life. Okay.
Yeah.
But it's interesting though. Yeah. So do you think they haven't alluded to this at all in the show or anything, but wouldn't this be a great governmental program to keep things secret, top.
Oh,
secret.
it would be a terrifying government program.
I have.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's government, but I sure Lumen is doing some shady stuff with. Now that we know, like, you can have multiple personalities and stuff. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, you'd be a normal guy by day, a paper pusher by night, and oh yeah, also if you flip this switch, you become a serial killer. Like, I'm just like, who knows?
Yeah, a sleeper assassin.
Yeah, sleeper assassin or whatever.
I mean, in the first season, it wasn't really explored too much, but there was the whole minor plot with them trying to pass a bill, on a federal level, and like the senator was using severed stuff for his wife to give birth.
Yeah.
Which weird.
The whole concept of with the severed people only being activated when they need to do their task. I think the birthing severed person, like, that's got to be. Birth is a beautiful thing. It brings life into the world, but to just go through the actual act of birthing someone, and that's the only part you get to experience. You don't get the after part or the before part. It's just you come into existence to birth a human, and then it's like, all right, see you later. Like, that's got to be hell to only exist to give birth. And it's like,
well, that gets back to the whole egg situation. Oddly enough, those chickens, that's what they do. That's all they do.
But they get to walk around and eat, and they're not. The one is also, chickens aren't that smart, so it's not that traumatic for them. But even if they were smarter, it's like, yeah, if, like, let's say chickens were smarter and we had to, like, entertain, like, when they're not having eggs, they'd be able to, like, watch TV and eat and do stuff and have a good time and stuff, and then they'd be like, oh, now I gotta go have an egg. Where
you guys don't know how you guys don't know how eggs are made. Do you know that they've messed with the chickens' version of night and day by cycling the lights and keeping it dark so that they produce more eggs?
Yeah.
Man, so speaking of animals and weird rights and stuff, have you all followed Soap PETA, whatever you want to say about PETA? They are suing on behalf of a number of chimpanzees.
Okay.
Saying that their First Amendment right to expression is being denied them.
Because they can't throw poop or something?
No, because they can communicate. Yeah, they have ways to communicate and talk now. They have, like, buttons they can press to form words. And because they're being restricted from being able to talk to anybody that they want by being,
in the zoo.
Up. Yeah. Then their First Amendment right is being.
I mean,
is this led by Bubbles, Michael Jackson's?
That's interesting. But I just feel like, what do you mean? Like, one is there's tons of, like, if you don't know sign language, you ain't talking with no chimp. And then also, I'm like, not saying that, I'm not even going into the realm of do they or do they not have First Amendment rights. But my thing is, I'm just like, talk to them better they want. I'm like, it's a chimp. It's not like he's gonna catch a plane to New Jersey and come visit somebody. Like,
well, we haven't explored that
like
yet, have we?
Sitting there. Once again, I'm not saying whether or not they should be held, but I'm just saying you make it sound like the chimps are, like, in the zoo requesting, like, I'd really like to talk to Peter again. He hasn't been back, so I was going to go visit him in Nebraska.
They may be.
We don't know.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't speak chimp. I mean, the only reason that you even got this far is because you gave them a piece of technology that bridges the gap.
Yeah, a technique.
Yeah, and so otherwise, there's no, we have no idea.
True.
I mean, obviously, PETA's goal is to get the Bill of Rights assigned to animals, so that way, they have the protections and they can use that for their whatever their agenda is, whether you agree with it or not. But I think it's an interesting conversation of, okay, if say all of a sudden a gorilla could communicate, should it have a rights? Should it like what happens when an animal on the planet becomes elevated? Evolutionarily, and now we're sharing.
Or maybe they're elevated and we just don't know it, and we're just discovering that.
Entirely possible. But what's interesting? So, like, what was it, Coco? Coco, they taught to do the sign language.
Yeah.
Never once ask a question.
Yeah, that's what it says. They can communicate, but they don't inquire, which is definitely a difference. I mean, it's very interesting to think about. I'm thinking, Robert, because you're talking about PETA, and of course, this is the USA, different country, but I'm like, maybe they need to focus somewhere else first, because I think they could probably get this passed. Because you remember when we were a couple episodes of Talkin It ago, the news story about, I think it's New Zealand, where they gave a mountain range like rights, like it had
interesting,
like the news story, like they granted it rights and of based like the same as any human, because I mean, it was part, you know, their meaning behind it was for the environment, so people can infringe on its rights. But I'm like, if you can give a mountain range rights, I feel like in New Zealand you'd be like, hey, we want to give the monkeys rights. I figure that's a way easier argument. So I'm like, maybe PETA needs to try coming at this problem from, you're not going to get it here in the USA right off the bat. Well, maybe go to New Zealand first. Let's go there. Let's get monkeys' rights in New Zealand, and you can just start spreading from there.
There's been dogs that have become mayor, so I don't see.
There we go. Yeah. And there's no rule saying a dog can't be mayor. Okay.
Right. And they have been. There's
the
been
good old Airbud defense.
Yeah.
Nothing in the rule saying a dog can't play basketball.
You know, if you kick a police dog, then you get in trouble. I mean, you can't do that either. Assaulting an officer.
Assault. That's assaulting an officer.
Why do we have so many blurry lines on all this? I wonder. You know, because I mean, we've got that going on, but now we go, oh, these chimps, come on, let's not be ridiculous.
I mean, I guess that's where it comes down. If we gave a chimp a bulletproof vest and a gun and called him Officer, Bubbles, maybe
wasn't that wasn't there a Clint Eastwood movie where
Any Which Way But Loose?
Yeah, where
it was orangutan. Orangutan though wasn't a chimp. That's different.
Yeah. I like
we love to reclassify everything. Oh, orangutan, no problem with the orangutan. Chimps, no way. We're stopping right there.
We got a hard stance on chimps, but
orangutans, they can do whatever they want. They can wear diapers. They can be on public. Whatever.
Why not?
They're cute. They smile. They'll kiss you. That's all good. So back to Severance a little bit here. So
that's all Bob wants to talk about. We should have had him
I'm fascinated. You threw me for a loop here by saying this is the best show ever, because I'm like, really? Okay, that's not an opinion that I've encountered yet. And so I'm curious, about why you like it so much. I mean, I like it, but
I've yet to hear from you an alternative show that is better than Severance.
I mean, I would say Breaking Bad, one of the best shows ever made.
I
love Better Call Saul, one of the best shows ever made.
Absolutely, both of those, one of the best shows. But is it better than Severance?
That's like
I think.
I mean, of course, that you could say the jury's out because those are completed shows.
Yeah,
right.
Whereas Severance is still yet.
Which that is a major thing.
It could really just fall apart.
I've talked about a ton. Is there are so many shows I've watched that have been good, and this is why Breaking Bad actually does get this huge thumbs up. Is I've watched so many shows that have been good, but cannot stick the landing. You're watching for Howard, whether it's 2 seasons or 15 seasons. You're watching it, but when the ending comes, you're just like, you didn't land it right. And Breaking Bad is one of the few shows where I'm like, no, they told a great story. It was enthralling all throughout, and when it came to the ending, they ended it, and they walked away, which I love. But also they returned, which a lot of people would say when you stick the ending and get it right.
Right, you don't return.
But they returned with the movie Gran Torino. And at the end of the day, Gran Torino, while I'm not saying it's one of the best movies ever made, it's it continued the story, and it still left you where you're like, nope, I am satisfied and we can move on. And so the fact that they also they left the property being like, hey, we did everything perfect, we're out. And then a few years hey, we're gonna come back. What are you doing? No one comes back when they stick the landing, and they're like, we're gonna do it. And they did, and they succeeded with a movie where I'm just applause all around. No, Breaking Bad is a different vessel. And I think we can say that Breaking Bad may be the best completed show. And then once Severance wraps, and then we see if they can stick the landing, I think Severance will overtake it, because as long as they manage to land it, which is the hardest thing. That's the hardest thing. Right. If they manage to land it, Severance is already a better show in my opinion, but you can fumble the ball at the end, because I've seen it with a lot of shows.
Lost was one of the examples. I think the first 2 seasons of Lost was really, really good, and then it's kind of
I could never get into Lost because I watched exactly 1 episode of Lost. And at the time, everybody online and at work that were watching and into the show and into the mystery were like, where did the polar bear come from? Why is there a polar bear on the island? I watched 1 episode and I knew the answer immediately. and I think it was the first episode. And I said, I don't know, maybe from the damn zoo that's on the island. Yeah, there's an old zoo. I'm like, God, where?
I think the chimp let him out because he was tired of talking to him. He's like, give me somebody else. Get rid of this polar bear.
My Lost experience was very interesting because I started watching it when it came out. Probably watched the first 2 seasons, and then I just kind of fell out of it and was like, whatever. But the place I was working at, some of the guys there, they had never watched it, and so I forget how many seasons Lost is. I think it's 5. They got into Lost in the back half of season 4. Like they didn't start watching at season 4, but they found out about Lost, and so they would show up at work watching season 1 and 2, like you said, were the good seasons, and they're like, oh, you hear about this, you hear about that, and I'm like, dude, you guys are years late, but also like they kind of started spiking my interest, and they're like, hey, it's finished in next year, and so they got me back watching it. We all started watching it, speculating. We watched through the rest of it, and then like for the fifth season, I'm thinking it was 5 seasons, and the finale, like we planned everything out. We're like, we're gonna have a big. It was me and like 7 of my coworkers were all invested. We're all going over to the. There was a house for my. I worked at a restaurant, and the owner of the restaurant bought a house originally for his sons to live in while they were working at the restaurant, just so they could have a little bit of freedom. But eventually we called it the restaurant was called Cristiano's. We started calling it the Cristiano's house because after his sons moved out, he would just rent it out to different people, and it was always people who worked at the restaurant. So we're like, we're all going over to the Cristiano. That's also became the hang for everybody at the restaurant. And so we're all going over to the Cristiano's house. We're getting together. We're bringing snacks. We're all watching this together after work, because it was a weeknight and some of us we're like, those of us who didn't work, like, don't you dare watch it without us. And it was back when we had to record stuff. We recorded it. Nobody watched it. We all got there to work, and we watched one of the crappiest finales ever. And after it ended, I'm no joke. Like I said, all 7 of us were like just invested in Lost to the point it was like you could hear a pin drop as just no one said anything, because we all were just like, what the hell was that? Yeah. And then what proceeded was like 2 hours of us just all ranting about what the heck was that?
Why did I spend so much time on this?
Is it better or worse than the ending for The Sopranos, where it just goes black?
I think that's better, actually. I think that's better.
I think Lost is better than The Sopranos.
No. Sopranos is better than Lost. The ambiguity is much better than
I remember. So Sopranos, once again, a story from work, but The Sopranos, there's a different thing. I never watched Sopranos, but my boss who owned the restaurant was diehard Sopranos. He watched Sopranos every week and always loved talking about it. I just remember when Sopranos ended, he came into work pissed off. He was just upset and grumpy for most of the morning, and everyone's like, yeah, he watched the finale of Sopranos last night. He was not.
Calling the coworkers, hey, Colin's sick.
Yeah,
it's not a good day.
It's not a good day.
So
I just remember how pissed off he was at the end of the Sopranos. He was just like, just like us in Lost, he invested his life. He loves Sopranos. He invested all this time.
It kind of went downhill as well, though. I would say Sopranos kind of went downhill at the end there. But I mean, even without the finale problems. But the elephant in the room is Ben Stiller is a big force in Severance. He's kind of the out front guy.
Yeah.
Now, really, Ben Stiller, this is the guy who's going to helm this into slide into home with this show. You think so?
The craziness to me is before this show, and when the show first came out, when I was like, Ben Stiller's directing a large portion of this and has a hand in it, I was like, that's when I first saw the trailers for Severance. And like I said, there was plenty of comedy in Severance. But when I first saw the trailers for Severance and then I saw Ben Stiller attached, I was like, oh, we're getting like a quirky comedy.
Yeah.
And
stuff. I mean, it is a quirky comedy.
It's quirky.
But what is it? So that's what I thought going into it. And like, the more I watched, the more that I saw that like, oh, this is so much more. And B, I started thinking like, just because you see, I think about what's his name? Jordan Peele. It's like Jordan Peele was released to the world as a sketch comedy artist, and stuff. And then now he's doing all these, big budget horror movies that are just taking off with people. And I'm just like, just because you're introduced to somebody as one thing doesn't mean they don't have other talents. And I think that's what Severance also. So it's like Ben Stiller to me is like, he's a comedy actor. He does that sort of stuff. And now I'm like, oh no, sure. And I bet you, he still loves comedy. I imagine he hasn't given it up, but I think it's one of the things like, he probably always had a passion for stuff and never had an outlet. And then, once he got big enough, they're like, hey, we're going to give you a shot. and he's proven like, yeah, he
Now-
has skills. Because like one thing we talk about on the podcast sometimes is like we watch these shows and we love Severance for all the wit in there. We love it for all the mystery and stuff. But also like we will watch scenes like, I love the way this is shot, or who looked at this and like decided to film it this way. And so it's like, yeah, that's one thing with Severance, like given Ben Stiller and everybody involved, all the directors and all the filmographers and everybody, is like there's a lot of scenes I'm just like, this is just wonderfully shot, or really innovative how they did this. I think about actually this season, the opening sequence of Mark running through the hallway and just jumping around, amazing, and all that stuff. And I'm like, yeah, that more than just the actual content of the show, it's also like just the
cinematography and blocking is phenomenal. I still want to get a documentary on how they shot just that opening scene and see in the first episode.
I'm sure you're going to get one. I think it's already
I would hope so. We when we first started watching this season, they do the, after the episode airs, they do the like, watch the behind the scenes, and me and Robert are like, oh, we got to watch the behind the scenes, and so we cue that up, expecting them to tell us how they did the opening
and
sequence,
then it's immediately,
and they're immediately like,
spoiler.
So we think this is what we're doing. We're like, stop talking. It's like, we don't tell us about the show and what's going. We wouldn't just tell us about how we made the show.
Now, in season 3, if Jack Black shows up, write the whole fucking thing off. I'm telling you right now.
There
Jack
are
Black
ways.
would be definitely a killer.
Not to say he couldn't pull it off, but it would be a real hard ask for him to show up in Severance and actually do something that wouldn't make it all collapse.
Yeah. But there are plenty of ways. Like I said, with this show being so good, but I am no fool. I know there are plenty of ways for them to tank this ship.
Yeah.
And just be like, oh, Severance has now went from being one of the best shows of all time to being like, well, you watched the first 2 seasons, but when you get to the third, oof.
Like the final episode of Game of Thrones. It's like, oof.
Now, have you guys?
No one even talks about Game of Thrones anymore.
That's
how bad the last episode.
Yeah, the last one was terrible. It went off the rails.
My favorite part about that is leading up to it, they were like asking people on the red carpet, like Peter Dinklage and everybody else, and every time they said like, "Oh, is it really good? Are you really excited about it?" and they're kind of like. And then just like walk away.
I just heard someone calling my name, so I got to cut this short.
Now, have you guys ever seen a show called The Prisoner? It's a British television show from the 60s.
Oh wait, sorry, The Prisoner. Sorry, I'm thinking of a movie, The Prisoner.
You showed it to me.
I've seen the original, but not the remake.
The original one, the original one with Patrick McGowan.
Be seeing you.
Yeah, be seeing you. Anyway,
so I am number 3, but who is number 1?
Right, who is number 1? This has a lot of Prisoner has. I mean, it's obviously much older, but
it's got a feeling to it.
It's got a vibe to it, just like Severance. And I think The Prisoner. There's only like 20 episodes of that show because it's a British show.
There were that many.
Yeah, I think it's 20. But it has that kind of vibe. It's all very mysterious and everything, and a lot of weird, stuff. Essentially, there's number 2 who was in the. There was only one repeat of a number 2. All the number 2s were different for every episode, and it was just a very weird show. And Severance to me gives me those vibes. So if anybody, and it's really old, so the quality.
Well, there's a remake,
now is
but I don't know how the remake holds up.
I haven't watched the remake. So.
I wouldn't say. Hey, if you like Severance, then you're definitely gonna like The Prisoner, because the Prisoner's weird. It's real.
Severance is not weird. I have an Indy and an Audi, and then I don't know who I'm married
it's weird,
to
but it's not The Prisoner weird. Okay, it's not like, oh, there is a weird, mysterious ball that bounces around the island and like kills people. Or like, hey, just all of a sudden this whole episode is going to take place in a Western town for no reason.
In a Western, well, because they had access to it. I think budgetarily it was probably cheaper. We haven't got that in Severance.
No, I love it.
It may happen. It may happen.
I love it.
Never know.
Yeah.
But so okay. Is there any other shows on the horizon for the
Andor?
Andor. Okay.
We were excited about Andor.
Yep. Andor's going to be heavy though, because
even with their dumb release schedule.
Yeah, but for some reason Disney decided that they're going to release 3 episodes at a time
for 4 weeks.
For 4 weeks, so it's 12 episodes total, 3 episodes at a time, and I'm just like, Disney, what are you doing to us? Like
why are they doing that? That's a weird thing. Yeah.
So what I heard is, I'm not sure if you watched the first season of Andor, but
I did. Yeah.
It was kind of broken up into chunks, little stories to tell the overall story. And so what I heard is that they're leaning more into that this season, where each 3 episodes is kind of going to be its own, not isolated, but its own time and event in the.
It's Andor like 3 story. Movies, basically.
Essentially, yeah. Everyone is saying
4 movies.
We're getting essentially 4 movies for the next season of Andor. Is kind of the way.
I did like Andor.
Cool.
If they do that, I'm gonna be super upset, because I'd want it to be just one long, 4 chunks that are 1 chunk each instead of broken up.
Yeah. And so,
it's like, what are we going to take a movie and break it into 3 30-minute chunks?
I get what
air it that way.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it would be nice to do it that way, but I mean, they're probably, because it's Disney and Disney loves to find ways to make more money, they probably will. If they release it, then they'll release a special edition that does merge, on DVD for all the collectors out there, that does merge everything. And so then you do have your 4 individual Andor movies, and
then it builds the little star thing or whatever the hell he was working on last year with the you can build that with the 4 different sections.
Yeah. And then if they want to go back to their old ways, they could just announce randomly. I was talking to people about this, but announce randomly that guess what? This product that is just literally, especially these days, just a digital thing, is going into the vault. It's going into the vault. And you won't be able to get it anymore. You better get it now. And you're like, but why though? And then after 5 years, like, guess what? It's coming out of the vault, but only for the next 2 months. You better get it. And I'm just
the Disney vault.
The Disney vault, man. I remember
it was on fire down in Florida the other day. The Disney vault was.
I mean, because that's dangerous, because they've got all the basically rocket fuel in the form of film.
No, Epcot caught on fire, France Pavilion. I was just if you guys didn't see that on the news.
I did. Okay, yeah, you're right. I thought you meant like the actual vault where they keep all the
no, actually, oddly enough, most of those are actually in the middle of the country here. I think some of them are in Kansas City underground. Anyway, all these movies are.
Disney's getting to and this is not a hot take or anything. I think a lot of people will believe this. I just had experience yesterday though that I was like, okay, we are getting out of hand. Disney's getting too big. We're covering Daredevil Born Again. I have Disney Plus, and I know Disney Plus has from the get-go, it's been tied with ESPN Plus and Hulu. Right. And they're getting more properties attached to all those. And the fact that I opened up Disney Plus to find Daredevil, and I was like, you want to check out the UFC fight? I'm like, what? And it was like, we got the UFC fight right here. I'm like, there is no world where I should be able to watch, I was trying to think of a Bluey, a kid's show, and then switch over to watching Deadpool, and then I checked a few more buttons. Now I'm watching UFC. I'm just like, Disney's getting out of control, folks.
They've just become cable. That's all you've got. Instead of having one cable company, you got 20 now. It's all cable companies. And now live sports has made the transition that they're all streaming. Live sports is not in broadcast or cable domain anymore. It's all live streaming.
Netflix acquired the license for WWE.
Raw.
We got UFC on Disney Plus, and it's just like, it's all just
into the world stuff.
I think that they need to roll in and do what they did for music, maybe, and just do like the mechanical royalties thing, where it's just like, hey, anybody's allowed to use it. They just have to pay, ASCAP or whatever, the licensing fee, and to just display instead of having to make individual deals.
Yeah.
Well, but individual deals are more lucrative for everybody.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah.
Exclusivity.
I mean, it was when they didn't have those rules for music too, but
right.
It's still a terrible situation,
So speaking of that, exclusivity and so forth, recently Amazon has purchased James Bond.
Interesting.
You guys didn't know that? Come on,
I think I did know that, but I mean, who cares about James Bond now?
Really?
I don't like any of the new movies. The last good James Bond movie was GoldenEye. The franchise has been dead to me ever since.
I've never been a Bond fan, actually.
Really?
So like it's one. So here's the weird thing, though. While I've never been a Bond fan, I still have my Bond. Like my Bond has always been Pierce Brosnan, even though, like I said, not a fan, but I will go and die on a hill to argue why Pierce Brosnan is the right Bond.
The funny thing is that's what you came into. That's what you guys came into it with, right? Because of your age.
Oh, that's
and
always
everything.
that's all how it
yeah,
works.
exactly.
Like, you go ask somebody from the 70s or whatever, they're gonna be like, oh, that's my guy because that's the one.
Right.
Exactly. It's 100%. Like I have no skin in the game when it comes to Bond. No reason to fight you for it, but I will.
I mean, I don't have any problem with Amazon owning it. Someone's got to own it, I guess.
Yeah, but you don't think that that much like Star Wars, much like the Marvel stuff and so forth, that these conglomerates are buying these properties. And to me, this is my argument on all this, right? I'm just using the Bond thing as an introduction to the argument, but the Bond thing, so you are it's killing competition in a way. So now they're gonna have the female James Bond, and they're gonna have the James Bond that lives in Antarctica or something, and they're gonna do all this stuff with the world of James Bond rather than doing something else. Severance is something else.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably what part of the reason why you might like it so much is because it's not like everything else. And even though Andor is part of the Star Wars thing, it's not quite the same as the other Star Wars things that they put out there, because they're all interconnected to the original in some way, shape, or form. And that one is set in the Star Wars world, but it's not as connected. And so, but I want them to do new things, like the Severance is a new thing.
You gotta go to Apple TV for that. And you gotta remember that what they're doing is making money. They want to make money. They're not there for the love of making content. They're there for the love of making money.
Well, all the interviews they say they are.
Oh, of course.
So you don't say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah. They're not going to say, I want all the money in the world. They're say, we just love making new content that makes all the money.
It would be great just to see some dude, some producer, somebody who's just like, so why do you make movies? Like, oh, just for money. I don't care.
Just for money. Yeah, I don't care what it is.
We'll put out, if we could get people to watch 2 hours of a turd on a screen, we'd do it.
We'd do it. Yeah.
I think the counter argument I would make to you, Bob, and I agree. I want them to make new stuff, and Apple TV is making crazy new stuff that's original. But the profits generated from the sequels and the prequels and the derivative works fund the riskier new stuff.
And the other thing also,
wow, you sound like a studio head.
Well, the other thing I think also is very interesting is because I've heard the argument about we just keep making sequel after sequel and stuff. No one wants to make anything new. Disney is extremely known for that. I think Snow White, the live action Snow White, just came out a few days ago. Disney is known for doing remakes and making stuff live action, and so and that is very much true. But there's also and I'm not saying that the studios and stuff are not at fault and stuff, but I think there is also a little bit of blame on but there's also a lot of us out here who just want nostalgia bait all the time. And so that when you hear they're coming out with Bond 27, you're like, sweet, another Bond. I can go there and watch it and have Bond and stuff. So it's a double-edged sword, or both sides. I think if more people were pushing and asking and demanding, but that thing is also there is a world where I like a good sequel. I think me and Robert, we're looking forward to The Accountant that's coming out this year and stuff. So there's I think it's just we have skewed too heavily in one direction. There's a fine balance that can be attained where it's let's have some good remakes and some good sequels and that sort of stuff and prequels, and if you can do a prequel well, but let's have that. But let's also get some good new content. And I feel like we have skewed too far into this way, but I also feel like we could skew too far into where it's only original stuff, because then it's just nothing. I don't know.
I mean, I could go even further with it. I think that we need to hit the brakes and do full reverse on the copyright law, because right now it's like 150 years or something.
Oh yeah,
right. And like,
yeah.
let's take that back down to just the life of the artist.
I think it's 100
Right.
years. 100 years.
It's
Oh,
something. It's like the life of
125.
the artist plus like 50 or 75.
Whatever,
Or
yeah.
something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah.
I'm like, no, I want that stuff freed up so that way everybody can have a bite of the apple on derivative works and really see how weird it gets with people exploring
You mean
concepts within other
Popeye the
people's
Slayer
works.
Man is not doing it
Absolutely.
for
If
you?
someone wants to make Popeye the Slayer Man,
It's
I
made.
want
It's
to
out
see.
there.
Oh well, awesome. But no, I want to see
Poo, blood, and honey.
Yeah, I would love to see the Star Wars
Exactly.
universe, or maybe the Star Trek universe get opened up, from copyright, and just see what people can do exploring that space.
I mean, I think
Mhm.
about as you say that, because what sort of stuff could we get? I think about the Orville and how it was so Star Trek without
Oh, yeah.
being Star Trek, and it's like
it was
if-
the
if-
best
if it-
Star Trek that was out.
Yeah, that's
it,
what
it was the
we were
better
saying.
Star Trek
We were
that
like,
was airing.
Orville is the best Star Trek on currently, and it's not even
Yes.
Star Trek.
That's right.
What was
And
it? What
it's
was the
true.
Star Trek that was airing at that
Discovery, I'm pretty
time?
sure.
Was it
Yeah,
Discovery?
Discovery was horrible.
Discovery. It was Orville versus Discovery, which
It
is
was
not
decent sci-fi. It just was bad Star Trek.
Yeah, it's just bad Star Trek.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So you say Apple. So what's the other Apple show that people should be watching? If
Oh,
they're-
man.
they're the
So
innovators.
Silo C,
Yeah.
I think.
What's the one with
Made for Love.
yeah?
Unfortunately,
yeah,
that didn't get
got-
an ending,
I
but it was
wish.
still
It was
amazing.
fantastic. But what's the show? Shrinking.
Shrinking's
good.
Yeah.
I know you will say Ted Lasso. I need to check out Ted
Oh, I
Lasso.
love Ted Lasso. I love
But
Ted
there is a lot. Like, it's one of the things that's weird. There's certain studios that and certain companies that if I like a trailer comes on, and if I'm on the fence or I'm like, I don't know, if their logo pops up, I'm like, well, at least give it a shot. And that's where Apple TV is right now. Is if I see a trailer for something, I'm not saying it's 100% going to be good, but if I see a trailer for something and then the Apple TV logo pops up on screen, I'm like, I'm going to give it a shot. Like, I'm at least going to check it out.
The morning show is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Slow Horses is amazing.
Haven't
It is
seen that.
absolutely
What's the one, the space
amazing.
one? For all mankind? Or?
For All Mankind. Oh, I love
Oh,
it.
okay. Yeah.
Well, that's what, like I said,
Yeah.
there is a lot of good stuff on Apple TV. And Robert just revealed to me that they're losing money streaming. So if you want to
Foundation.
if you
No
want to
Foundation
see
in
this
there?
stuff,
Foundation is really good
If
too.
you-
I think Foundation is a desecration of the source material, but it is really good.
Yeah.
It is really good, but it is not a faithful telling of
Oh,
the
Yeah.
Harry Seldon
no,
story.
that wasn't Apple TV. That just was Wolf, or not that was Wolf. What's the one called?
What are you talking
I don't
about?
think it's Apple TV now, but I'm trying to remember the Wolves, Raised by Wolves.
Raised
Oh,
by
Raised by
Wolves.
Wolves.
Is that Apple TV? Is that
No,
No,
that was,
that was
that
HBO
was
Max.
Max.
that was
Max.
HBO Max, but it was from it was South African.
Mm-hmm.
It was made
Yeah.
in South Africa. It wasn't even
Yeah, it was
made for
real.
the
It was.
market. Yeah.
That's a weird show.
Yeah, I watched
Weird
all that. I
mystery.
wish there was more of it, to be honest.
Robert
with you.
got me into that, and I've always been upset
Still,
with him because
still in my book, the best intro ever
Mm.
of any show.
Mm-hmm.
Just something about it. It's just that soft, creepy music and like the weird visuals of like the killer robots just
Yeah.
flying
Mhm.
around. It is so, I don't know. I watch it. It's the only show that I watch the intro every single time I see it, and sometimes we'll just go to YouTube to watch the intro.
yeah. No, yeah, no.
That's a weird one.
Raised by Wolves is a thorn in mine of Robert's relationship though, because he got me into after it was all done. He knew it was after Raised by Wolves was done. He knew that there was no ending. Knew that it was going to leave you for more. I had never
It's
even
the
tried to
journey.
watch Raised by Wolves. I had no inclination to watch it, and we're like, "You really got to watch it." And so
You
then
should
I
watch
watched
this.
it, and I loved it. And then I got no completion, and I was like, "You knew this was the end result, Robert. You knew it, and you dragged me in here."
It was worth it. It was worth it.
Mm.
What
That's kinda
what
mean.
What are thoughts on Monarch: Legacy of Monsters? A show so dumb, it's so fun to watch.
I did watch it, but yeah, I was like, where's this going? I mean, it's
It is dumb
It is
and
so
bad.
stupid. It's such bad writing,
But
it's fun to watch.
Do enjoy watching it. It's one of those. It's nice to just have sometimes, like when I'm watching Severance, I'm fully alert. I'm looking for every little detail and stuff. Monarch Legacy March is just like I just turn off the brain.
Yep. I came for big monsters. You gave me big monsters.
Right? Yeah, exactly. Where's the kaiju? Right?
Mm-hmm.
Take my money.
Once we started going to Inner Earth or whatever was going on, I was like, okay, we've officially left the plane of this is going to be a reasonable show.
I mean, there's so much good on Apple TV. It's totally the one of the best streamers.
So you'd say, as far as the streamers go, that's the one to get.
I would think, yeah. If I was going to tell someone that you were going to get the most quality out of it, I mean, obviously you could go to Disney Plus because they just have everything.
Yeah.
Right.
But if you're looking for like good, solid quality, and like 9 times out of 10 the show that they produce is going to be good quality, it's going to be Apple TV.
Yeah.
If there's any one show besides Severance on there, it's definitely Silo. Has to be checked out.
So let's take the pay ones out of the equation. For the free ones, what's the best one?
Tubi.
Yeah.
Tubi.
Hey, I'm not even joking. Tubi, well, like I said, one is you're not going to get anywhere near the quality of any of the pay ones, but I have had plenty of surprise enjoyment from Tubi where I'm just like, did not see this coming.
There's another one that me and Donnell primarily use, but we won't say the name of it out loud because the legality of it is quite dubious, and we don't want it to get shut down.
Have to subscribe to our Patreon.
Yeah.
If you want that.
If you become a subscriber for our podcast and you email us, we will tell you our super secret website that has everything, even things that aren't out of the theater yet.
I think I know what you guys are talking
You're
about.
saying too much, Robert.
Hey, they don't know the name of the site. They can't get it. And
Tubi has got, you're right, Tubi's got everything. And
Tubi has a lot, and Tubi surprisingly, like, because I've watched other free streamers and stuff, Tubi surprisingly has a decent amount of quality content. I'm not going to, like, once again, nothing on it compares to anything you'll find on even like Netflix.
Right.
But actually, you know, I'm going to walk that shit. Netflix does have some weird stuff too. So I'll say it can get to Netflix caliber or bottom tier Netflix, because there is also high tier. Like, that's the thing, is Netflix is a wide gambit where a lot of stuff on Netflix is like, this is just garbage. And every once in a while, Netflix is like, oh, here's something like 3 Body Problem. Like, oh, here's something amazing. Like, where did this come from? And they're like, we thought we'd try it.
Man, I said it once, I'll say it again. Netflix is on the fence with me over 3 Body Problem.
Yeah.
I don't think that they've got it in them to take it home. And if they don't, I've said that I will cancel my Netflix account. If they do not nail 3 Body Problem.
Where are you guys at now?
Especially if they do the Netflix norm of producing 2 seasons.
That would be the worst. Yeah, they would lose a subscriber in
me. What do you think about all this now with the commercials? So we've
I haven't seen any commercials on
Netflix. So that's the thing is I'll speak to that. So Netflix with commercials, for me, I have Netflix with commercials, but the only reason why it is acceptable to me or worth it, because I think is, if I didn't have Netflix with commercials, I also just wouldn't have Netflix, because Netflix isn't good enough for me to spend money on. Like, I used to share an account with one of my friends for Netflix. I enjoyed it. When they clapped down on that, I just didn't have Netflix. And the only reason I have Netflix now, and the only reason why the commercials are acceptable, is I get it through my cell phone provider. It's just a free perk.
Oh, it's a free one.
Cell phone. And so I am perfectly fine with Netflix with commercials for free. I'll deal with the commercials. But if I was paying for Netflix and they're like, here's some commercials, I'm like, you can go screw yourself. Can go too.
I would cancel my Netflix account if I saw a commercial.
Yeah.
No, that's where I'm at. Like, the only reason I accept it is I didn't have Netflix at all before, and then T-Mobile was like, hey, we'll give you Netflix for free, but it's with commercials. And I was like, sure, why not?
Okay, yeah, whatever. It's free. It's free. You mean I'm not paying you anymore? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So talking about commercials.
Yeah.
I tell you what terrifies me. I don't know if y'all have been following the protest in Turkey, Istanbul, or whatever, where they just unleashed directed sound device. So like, they can now pinpoint in a crowd of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50,000 people, one person, and beam sound at them.
Sure.
around people, through people, and others won't hear it, but you will.
What?
And that's insane and terrifying.
Yeah.
And that is absolutely going to be used for advertising, directed advertising.
The weird thing is, I guess this is the first maybe openly public use of that, but that's been around for quite some time.
Yeah.
Actually, did you know there's a thing with vending machines that have that? Did you know that?
I did not.
No.
Yeah, so that you hear it in front of the vending machine, you hear it, and everybody around you doesn't hear it. So like when you walk by a vending machine, it'll be like, drink Coca-Cola.
You're like, who said that?
Yeah,
I mean, that's
exactly.
just going to lead to people thinking they're insane. Also, like,
yeah, you could gaslight somebody.
No, oddly enough, that sound business has been around for actually quite some time. But
I remember hearing of like targeted sound, but like never like seen it in practice and stuff.
And then they also can use it to make you be sick.
I've heard. Yeah, there's
not just to make you hear things, but actually to make you ill.
Yep.
And pinpoint you. Yeah, isn't that weird? Oh boy.
Like I can't even imagine the stuff that they've got out there. Like, because back in the 80s, maybe the 70s even, they accidentally declassified that like blowfish gun or whatever. It was the CIA had invented a gun that shot frozen blowfish venom. And it was like undetectable, like that you had been shot. And then just like an hour later, you just die of a heart attack.
Right. Yeah.
And it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But that was in the 70s. Who knows what they got now?
Oh my gosh, it's out of control.
I mean, I'm still waiting to find out about Havana syndrome and what was going on.
Right. Yeah. And that's a sound thing. Havana syndrome is a sound-based thing. Yeah.
I mean, we don't know.
Well, and then there's the whole thing where they can listen into you by the vibration of the glass in the window.
Oh yeah. Oh, I love that. I love that. And, I don't know if you watched Conclave this year. Movie, where they were covering up the windows of the chapel, so that way they couldn't hear them talking about what the smoke was going to be. Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah. No, I mean it gets, and then also with your Wi-Fi, so they know where you're at inside your house based on your Wi-Fi.
What
and not even being connected. You don't have to be connected to the Wi-Fi. You just have to be walking in the Wi-Fi.
That's what I was about to say. Is how much people don't realize. Like, you don't even have to be connected to Wi-Fi networks for it to be used to track you, to get information about you. It's like, it's insane.
I mean, I always thought it was funny when everyone's like, "Oh my God, look at that sci-fi technology from The Dark Knight," where he's got like all the cell phones that are doing the sonar. I'm like, they've been doing that for a long time.
You're like,
that happened right now.
You're like, that's just a Tuesday.
Yeah, everywhere snapped.
Yeah.
So then we'll loop it back to Severance here to wrap up. So when are we going? Do you have an innie, or are you the outie or the innie I'm talking to right now? That's my question.
Well, seeing as I'm unemployed, I'm just all outie.
I mean, that's the fun of the show, right? Because there is an innie and an outie in all of us. Because like, I'm a different person outside of work. When I go into work, I put on the
different hat
face. Yeah. I always think it's funny whenever I run into like a coworker outside of the office, like there was one guy, he was like, kind of an upper level guy, in the C-suite area, wore a suit and tie every day, nice shaved and haircut. And then like one random Saturday, I'm going to the grocery store and he's like in dirty sweatpants, unshaven, hair a mess. Like I'm just like, this is another human being. This is a different human being than the person I have met in the office. Like,
as I say, that's how you know whether a work or when a work friend becomes an actual friend is when they get to see
they drop the mask
out of you.
Yeah.
When you have a friend at work and then you're like, you know what, I'm gonna have him over this weekend, and like, I'm not gonna be the guy that you don't have that persona, your work persona on. That's how you know when someone goes from just, I talk to him at work, we're friendly, but are we truly friends? Nah, if you haven't seen Outie Me, then we're just two people who hang out at work.
I also love whenever I have to do the customer service voice, which a lot of people will know what I'm talking about. And just all of a sudden a coworker will just turn to me and be like, "Who are you? Who was that just now talking? Like that wasn't you."
So if you guys had the opportunity, would you?
No.
Be severed?
Well, there's a dollar amount. I don't know what it is, but there's a dollar amount, like definitely $10 million a year. I'll do Severance for at least a year.
Yeah.
I like the perks of being severed, of like never having to work, seem nice, but then it's like, but
you're sleeping 16 hours a day at that point, aren't you? I mean, you're just not conscious.
You're just not conscious.
I mean, I don't think they're sleeping. They're not getting a rest. Especially
with I'm just saying it's like in your head, it's just gone. Those time's gone.
Well, I mean, everybody who's in the Severance, all the characters in the show are there running away from trauma or trying to get in there for nefarious purposes, or I shouldn't say nefarious, because my opinion is that Irving chose to become severed in order to infiltrate the company for altruistic reasons.
That's what we're really looking forward to season 3 is Irving's story. They did not give us enough of that this season, and I need to know more.
Okay. So both you're both no's on the severed part.
Yep. Yeah, without extreme compensation.
Yeah, exactly.
If you think about it, even if it's extreme compensation, basically you're somebody's puppet almost for a good 8 hours a day.
Bob, I live in American capitalist economy for the last 40 years. I'm somebody's puppet already.
Oh my gosh!
I just have to, live with it. Whereas, you know what? I'm lower on my $10 million figure here. Like I just get the money and I don't have to remember eating shit all day.
Now you're considering it, is what you're telling me.
Robert's like, you know what?
110K, I'll do it. With
like the only trauma I got in life is going to work. Dealing with other humans.
Wow. You've led a charmed life. Wow. Fantastic.
Well, I mean, I didn't, which is why I do now. Because I just said, F it. I'm not gonna deal with crap anymore. So I cut out all the crap.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys. Well, let's wrap it up here. We got 2 no's on. I would not be severed myself personally, but in a way, I'm already severed because I'm talking to you as a blue cat. So, I mean, it's a self-imposed bit, but So, where can tell us what's happening in the future here on the Watchin It podcast and where they can find you and all that stuff.
We're currently covering Daredevil. We're going to be doing Andor after that. I think we're going to try and get you on the show here in a.
I know I'm supposed to talk about They Live. I think at some point here.
Yep. You picked the show, and good one.
Well, which oddly enough ties into some of this stuff we've been talking about.
Yeah, good follow up to the last one that we covered, which was Brazil.
Yeah.
Other than that, we don't know what we're covering after Andor. We're looking at a number of shows, but you can find us on our website, which you've got posted there, watchinitpod.com. You can also find us on Instagram at Blue Sky, and you can email us, watchinitpodcast@gmail.com. We always love to hear feedback and show suggestions and commentary on what we've said and other shows. And it doesn't have to be just a discussion between me and Donnell. It can be a discussion with everyone.
Love other people's viewpoints.
We love talking about TV and movies.
And we're marking here right now, if Severance can, pull it off, best show ever.
Yep. Thus far. Who knows what the future has?
I will stand by that statement.
And then if anybody needs if anybody needs any Donnell, he's available.
He is. Any Donnell is open for work. If you want to reach out, he will be more than willing to at least reveal your offer. And last plug, if you need some eggs.
The Eggman.
I live near the Canadian border. We can see what we can get going on.
We can get some of those maple eggs for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Tim Hortons special coming across. Well, thanks, Guy, for talking to me today.
Yeah, thanks for having us, Bob.
Everybody go to Watchin It Pod and check it out. And we're going to follow up on this Severance thing. It may take us a couple of years, but we're going to find out.
100%.
Stay tuned. All right, guys. Hang on just a second, and we'll see everybody else next time.